Hi guys. Hi Libby. This is going to be an awesome call. If you want team members to be on here, start texting them now. I would play music for you guys, but I don't have any queued up right now. I know this is not my typical start. Usually I have some rowdy music. Hi, Sandy. Thanks for hopping on. Okay, it is 6 o'clock, and I see my guest on the call. So I am going to get this party started here. Zach and Eden Slobin are incredible mentors of mine. I don't think that they know this per se, but when I was first starting Isogenics, I've told this before, the people who enrolled me, both my immediate enrollment and the person above me, they all started just months ahead of me. And I was led to my own resourcefulness for finding excellent trainers and training material and just looking for inspiration on how to build this business. And Zach and Eden had a very, very heavy hand in mentoring me, even though they did it from their own home and had no idea who I was. They receive a lot of credit for my my drive, my motivation. Zach is so key in mindset, and Eden is so incredible with verbiage. And I am so excited to bring them to you tonight. They are Isogenics millionaires. They are 8-star golden circles. They have mentored hundreds of people across the stage and across our company, and they have an incredible team of their own. And so I'm super excited to have them on the call tonight. I'm just going to tell you guys what this is going to be like. We're going to do this question and answer style. And so I do want to make sure that if you have immediate questions, to ask them in the chat. I will try to stay up with the chat because I really want this to be kind of a workshop style of meeting tonight. I really want you guys to learn, and I want you guys to get better at your skills. And we're going to pretend in this moment that we're talking mainly about prospecting to cold market, because, the number one issue that I think our team, my team specifically, has right now is maybe they've kind of blown through their warm market and they're having to be more intentional about prospecting to their cold market. And I know that Zach and Eden are just incredibly talented in doing this. And so we're going to go ahead and get started. So first, you guys can, I'll unmute you, but thank you for being here, Zach and Eden.
Hi.
Awesome. Okay, so we are going to question and answer style this tonight. So that's why I'm hoping you guys will pop into the chat if you need clarification on anything that they're sharing. So thanks again, you guys, for being here. I just appreciate you so much.
Oh my gosh, our pleasure. And thank you so much for the amazing introduction. I guarantee that we have learned a tremendous amount watching you and seeing you speak and having you train our team when you were a guest on our team call. And some of the golden nuggets that you provided people were like instant action taking type skills that you were teaching, and people got instant results from that. So thank you for your contribution to the community. Thank you for growing your business so quickly to show so many new people what's possible, for being a great inspiration to us. But more than anything, just being a great friend. We love you and adore you, and we're honored to be here tonight.
And thank you for being a good bathroom partner, for sharing the bathroom in a timely fashion, and for not taking up too much of the sink.
Zach and I shared a bathroom not that long ago. And you know what? Zach is, Eden, kudos to you. He's an incredible bathroom mate. So good.
He is, considering that I use my sink and his sink simultaneously, he's a good sport.
I grew up in a family of all girls, so there really was no such thing as like bathroom privacy, but he was very respectful, so I really appreciate that. I love that you shared that. Thank you. No, so this is incredible, and I'm so honored to have you guys. And what I love about our community, and really what you've established as I mean, I feel like you guys are totally just the one team kind of um, leaders. But what I love is that when we share like this, we just grow so much faster collectively, which I just love. Okay, so now that I've kind of set you guys up with what we're going to talk about, what I want to talk about first is real world connecting. How important is it in our profession? Like, you know, you can scale of 1 to 10 it or a percentage it, but how important is real world connecting and putting new people into the funnel every day? Because in my opinion, I think it's undervalued. And I feel like people don't, they maybe don't do it enough, and then they're disappointed with their results that they're getting by building their business. So can you guys speak to that a little bit? Open floor. I'm not going to call on a specific person, just whoever wants to pitch in.
Yeah, it's imperative. It is necessary. We believe that for you to have a solid business that not only hits a growth point, but that sustains the level that you're looking to create on a long-term basis, you have to learn how to build as if social media wasn't even there. Social media is this amazing tool. We see it as a gift. You know, Zach started building network marketing before social media even existed, where he'd literally go door to door and connect with 100 people a day. And that's how old school network marketers did it. So we've always had this philosophy of building kind of in this old school way with new school technology. So you can use social media as a way to connect with new people. And we can talk about that, but it's learning the skills to connect face to face. It's learning how to, see somebody, to spot somebody in a crowd and identify them as your ideal partner. It's how to compliment them and ask them great questions and engage them in conversation, and ultimately ask them if they're open to taking a look, or possibly just kind of building a relationship with them over time. Those are really necessary skills that we have to learn how to build if we want to do this sustainably. You can hide behind your computer and you can build it, you can make it go, but without those real life skills, it's really hard to say if a business that is built from behind the screen will really stand the test of time. Because most people can't duplicate that. Most people are unable to build their business solely using social media. There's a handful of unicorns that can do it in a significant way. But what we've learned is that in order for us to teach skills, we've got to learn those skills ourselves. And 99.9% of the people are going to have to build it the old school way, using some technology to support them, using Facebook groups, using connecting on Instagram and Facebook for their prospect or their new contact to kind of validate, see who they are, what they're about, validate what they were saying when they met that person. But outside of that, it's that real world connection, the building the muscle to develop posture over time, and find ways to find things in common with people. We've got to be able to become experts at that ourselves by our consistent practice of it over time, so that we can turn around and teach it in a way that's just really, it's easy to understand. It's connecting, it's making friends. How did we all make friends when we were growing up? Why is it that we feel like when we're in a business of connecting that we should get away from the connecting part? Like it doesn't make any sense.
And the other thing I'll add to it is, when you ask how important is connecting, we have some very basic needs when it comes to survival, right? We require food, water, shelter, right? Food, water, shelter. Without those things, we don't survive. Well, if you apply the idea to a business, like what are the basic needs of a business, right? Well, connecting with new people is basically it's your food supply. And if you don't eat, you die. It's just that simple. So if you're not constantly finding new ways to eat, right, you're going to die as a business owner, plain and simple. Like there's no other way to look at it. And so it's almost, and if you're willing to look at it, because that, like Eden said, when I first got started in the industry, it was literally go meet 100 new people a day anywhere I could, non-negotiably. That was the deal I made with my mentor. If I didn't go connect with those people from a business sense, I died. So I operated from a sense of survival. You know what I mean? And so it's not even a question of how important is connecting. It's just coming to terms with the reality that's non-negotiable if you really want to do this in a significant way. Now, if you're comfortable and happy earning, you know, an extra, say, $300 to $500 a month, which is fantastic, revolutionary, life-changing, incredible money. And if that's where you are right now, then fantastic. You can do that online. You just can. You can do it on social media. You can, you know, enroll a couple people here and there, make some PIVs, cycle 1 to 4 times, you know, maybe a week or maybe a month. And that's amazing money. And thankfully, we're in such a generous compensation plan that you can afford to do that. But if every time you get on one of these calls or you come to an event and you see a Lindsay who became a millionaire, you know, in 3 years, and you hear some of these incredible stories, if you aspire to those things, then you're going to get to stretch yourself and you're going to get to find a new way to put food on your table. And that comes with meeting people, using social media, like Eden said, but with a willingness to connect every day, non-negotiably, no matter what. Otherwise, you just don't eat.
I love that. So just to show people what that looks like, I try to detach, you know, the business opportunity from connecting initially with people, because people are so worried about that. You guys probably have a much more seamless transition. Like I'm like, okay, I'm going to connect with people. I'm going to, you know, connect with them on Facebook, and I'm going to paint, you know, cast that vision with them and maybe develop a relationship with them over time through Facebook. I know you guys are much more direct, and you're much more, you know, like you will definitely cast a vision much more quickly than I. Totally. I think, you know, different strokes for different folks. We're still both extremely successful business people, but I would like, because I train my team all the time, I would like for them to hear just a quick scenario, how you would, you know, draw that really quick line to someone as having an opportunity to share.
Well, before that, let's just, and I want to answer that, and then I know we both have different takes on it, believe it or not, and we have slightly different styles, although they're similar at the same time. Mindset is everything, and your approach to real world connecting or connecting online is so very, very important. So the first thing that I want all of you to adopt is a belief. I want you to adopt the belief that I've been carrying with me since I was 23 or 24 years old. It's one of the first things that I ever taught Eden. What's the belief?
Everyone wants to be in business with me, and everyone wants to be my friend.
Everyone wants to be in business with me. Everyone wants to be my friend. That is an affirmation. It is a belief. It is something that we generate. It's a frequency that we put out into the world, whether we're home or whether we're, you know, going to the mall, right? We carry an energy that says we believe that everyone wants to be in business with us. Everyone wants to be our friend. And because we carry that kind of a certainty in
Why wouldn't they?
Right, exactly. Why wouldn't they? Like, because, and we don't say that from a place of ego or arrogance, but we would say that from a place of, we love ourselves. We love who we are. We love how we choose to show up in the world. And we believe that we can bring a certain amount of value to someone's life, regardless of isogenics. Regardless of isogenics, we're constantly seeking to find out how can we add value to someone's life. So because we carry ourselves from a position of everyone wants to be in business with us, everyone wants to be our friend, there is no such thing as a cold market. Why would you want to go into the cold market? Do you want to go into the cold end of the pool? Of course not. Do you want to take a cold shower? Not if you don't have to, right? So if we take a position of everybody wants to be in business with us, everybody wants to be our friend, then there's no such thing as cold market. There's only friends who we're yet to meet. And that's an energetic shift. And it's a mindset shift. And it opens up our desire to just want to connect with people.
Mm-hmm. And it's going out there not as a shark looking to get people, but it's identifying, all right, who are the people that I'm kind of crossing paths with during the day who strike me as somebody that I might want to be friends with? Because I know for sure that somebody that I'd want to be friends with, I'd most likely also be open to being business partners with.
Did you hear what she said? Be open to the possibility, meaning that, like, we're always carrying the position of, we want to be friends with you, but whether or not we want to invite you into our business community is a totally different proposition. Those are not things that necessarily have to coexist. We've met some incredible people, right? Some great people who just in the flow of conversation, we know we can look at each other and know they're not the right partners for us. And so we might maintain a relationship with them, but we're not trying to hit a home run.
And on the other side of things, we're totally willing to be friends with people who would be great business partners without attaching that as a
requisite
for us to maintain the relationship, or that we're constantly talking about it all the time and shoving it down their throat. Because what we've learned through experience, and we're seeing this more and more, because in Lindsay, I'm sure, and for those of you who have been around a little longer, if you're really good with your follow-up, what you see is that timing really is everything. And if you're willing to show up as a great friend for people and remember them when, you know, their kid is sick, or it's a birthday, or it's a holiday, or just being a good person and a good friend to them, that when the timing is right, they'll come around. Like, I believe that everybody in my pipeline, everybody on my follow-up list, at some point, I don't care how many times they've said, not the right time, not the right time, not the right time, at some point it'll be the right time.
Right.
As long as we keep moving forward and keep kind of putting on display what's possible with a simple yes.
There's an old marketing maxim that says that people do business with people that they know, like, and trust. So if you've never met somebody before, how does that even happen, right? So we could talk about a couple of different things. So Lindsay, we could talk about an environment in which we take a direct approach, but then we can also show you guys a little bit of what we do more often than not. And that is putting ourselves in a position to get someone to know us, like us, and trust us. And how do we do that? Well, like Eden said, we're constantly, when we leave the house, we put on what we call our prospecting consciousness hat. We're just consciously aware of attracting the types of people that we're looking for in our lives, right? So people who are open-minded, fun, outgoing, high integrity, classy, potentially money motivated.
Yeah, and hear what Zach is saying. What he's saying is that we have a clear intention on who we're looking for and who we're open to attracting. So vague goals create vague results. A vague prospect or vague ideas of what you want a prospect to look like is going to literally have you kind of wandering around saying, is it that person? Is it that person? Is it that person? Get really clear and intentional about the qualities and characteristics and the traits of an ideal partner that they would have, and have that on your mind all the time, so that you start to notice where those people are. And then you can know, especially if you're a spiritual person, and whatever your spiritual beliefs are, you can attach to this, is that if you're declaring the type of person that you're open to receiving, you're open to attracting in your life, and then you start to notice that they're placed in your path, you can just trust that that is happening for a reason, that God placed them in their path, whatever you believe in, that's an answer to your prayers. So you got to find a way to talk to them.
So let's give you an example of what it might look like to be able to provide value to somebody with no attachment whatsoever. And I'll give you an example of where it didn't actually work out. So we were at the coffee shop. This was probably 6 months ago. And in line is this young, attractive, fit couple, very clear that they take care of themselves.
And British, right?
No, and with them is their little boy. Now, their little boy, probably 4 or 5 years old, super cute little kid. He's wearing an Arsenal jersey. Now, for those of you guys that don't know, Arsenal is a major soccer team in the English Premier League, right, in the UK. So right away, because we're open in the UK, we have a team in the UK, right away, signal, boom, UK. And I say to the little kid, I start a conversation with the little kid just for fun, because I love soccer, I'm a diehard fan. I said to him, hey, you and me, we're rivals. I don't like Arsenal. I like Manchester United. And he said, Manchester United is the worst. And his mom starts giggling, the dad's laughing, and we just start a conversation with mom. We say, they said, oh, she said, he's a diehard. We just moved here from London. They're American though. Oh, what brought you back? My husband's an entrepreneur. He's starting into a small business, blah, blah. We just moved back. She said, we're pretty excited to be out of London. I said, has he joined a club here? No, he hasn't. Well, because I have a background in youth soccer, because I grew up playing in Southern California, I said, here are 5 great clubs that you should look into for him. And I listed off 5 great clubs right away, no attachment whatsoever. Here are 5 clubs that if he's really competitive, he really wants to play. Here are 5 clubs in San Diego that you're going to want to look into for him. That'll be somewhat on par with what he might get in the UK. So right away, there's an instant dynamic, there's an instant connection, and right away, she's getting to know me. She likes me because I'm relating to her little boy, right? And because I'm making a referral, if the referral works out, she's going to trust me. Now, her and Eden connect, and Eden right away says, here's my hairstylist, here's our masseuse, here's our naturopath, here's our acupuncturist, let's connect on Facebook, right? And I can tell you more about it.
We've done that on the airplane, at the airport, in an Uber, at the gym, all the time. People that we've met online, people that I see that are just moving into our area, I'm constantly offering, and that's a really easy thing to always do to provide value to people in your area. or people who move into your area. Hey, curiously, do you need a house cleaner? Do you need a doctor? What referrals do you need? I've spent the last, 3 or 4 years finding the best of the best. Who can I turn you on to?
Here's a great personal trainer. Here's a great nail salon. Our masseuse is incredible. You would love her, blah, blah, blah. Because here's what happens. When they have a great experience, yeah, Lindsay's like, sign me up. Where is she?
No, right? I'm like, I have to finish your sentence and I have to interject.
Because when we make a great referral, and we build that trust, we build that credibility, when the timing is right for us to refer them to Isagenix, just type in the chat box, are they more likely or less likely to say yes to Isagenix because we've made a quality referral, right? Are they more likely or less likely? Just type in the chat box. They're more likely because we've established a sense of credibility because they recognize that we're making a referral from day one with no agenda other than to serve them and become friends with them.
Now, I just wanted you to know how in alignment these guys are with what they say, because I'm in Maui and Zach is texting me what restaurants I need to go to. And I asked for an organizer on Facebook, and Eden is the first person to private message me the name of her organizer. So like I want to say that, not to shine them. I love them, so I'd be happy to shine them. But what I really want you to understand is this is part of who they are. It's not like some contrived, made up, schmoozy thing. It's just what they do. It's just who they are. It's how they show up in the world. But it's also a muscle that you flex. So it's something that you consistently do over time with every single person that you meet. And it's not weird or gimmicky or showy or anything. It's just who they are. Sorry, I had to interject.
Oh, thank you for that.
Thank you.
And here's so many of us, just type in the chat box, do you want to help people? Just type in the chat box, do you want to help people? Right? It's a yes or no question. Do you want to help people? Right? So we just want to help people. And we just don't, do we believe that Isagenix has the potential to help as many people as we meet? Sure, but is it going to be for everyone? Of course not. But we genuinely, remember, we believe everybody wants to be in business with us. Everybody wants to be our friend. And we like to help our friends, no matter what it looks like.
I want to give another example because this just happened today. I found this amazing custom cookie design lady in Gilbert, Arizona, and I'm like,
she spends most of her time watching cookie design on
I
Instagram.
do. I'm obsessed with cookie decorating. Anyway, I digress. I saw it that she was in Gilbert, and I said, wow, this would be amazing gifts. First, my thought was this would be amazing gifts for corporate. Like, can you imagine the an Isa A cookie, or, a strawberry shake in a glass, or an e-shot, or whatever. I just thought it would be a really great gift for corporate. And then I started thinking, wow, because I was chatting with the owner about it, and she seems so sweet, and she's working so hard, and she's building her business from home, and she seems amazing. And I then thought, you know what, this would be a great vendor for corporate to have access to. It would help her build her business, and it would be great to send out to some of the leaders. It's so Instagrammable. So I reached out to Jackie Palmer, and I'm like thinking to myself, like, I hope she says yes. I hope this is something that excites her because I want to help the girl. Jackie was excited about it. So I connected them, made an introduction. And it was something that I so wanted to work out because I love knowing that I did something to support somebody in their business, in their efforts, regardless of what it is. Now, I also am 100% going to circle back with her now that I've done something that's going to move the needle on her business potentially. I'm also going to ask her to, in return, watch an 11-minute video and see if it lights a fire in her.
I love it.
So that wasn't my agenda, but of course I'm going to do it.
And when you look at influence psychology, people are far more likely to say yes to someone who has done them a favor.
So law of reciprocity.
Plain and simple. It's just plain and simple. You are far more likely to say yes to someone in your life who you feel like you owe them one. You know what I mean? And so if you can do it in a way that's sincere, in a way that you actually care, like Eden really cares. Like we love promoting other entrepreneurs. We love seeing other business owners thrive. So like, why wouldn't we hook her up with what could be the biggest account of her business, right? So
how do I transition that? So I'll circle back with her in a few days and say, hey girl, did you have a chance to check with Jackie, or to connect with Jackie, blah, blah, blah. And then I'll ask her, I'll say, Gilbert, you live in Gilbert, like you must've heard of Isagenix. Have you ever tried the products? No, really? Oh my gosh, you're working round the clock. It would be so convenient for you to get this nutrition in your body. I know you're into health and wellness. It's even great for your whole family. Would you be open to watching a quick 11-minute video so you can see why you love it?
And then I'm going to come in and say, like, look, I know that you've probably helped people create some amazing before photos with all your cookies.
So with her, I would start out with a product approach, but I would very quickly shift because she has zero leverage, but she's really excited about her business. So I'm not going to like rain on her parade.
Now let's just give you guys some real world language, like what we would use with that couple in the coffee shop, right? So we send them off, no agenda, we connect online. A couple days later, maybe a week, maybe 2 weeks, maybe because we've observed their social media and we talked about them and go, you know what, they've got it. Like there's something about them, right? We might come back to them and we might send them a message that sounds a little something like this.
Hey guys, so great meeting you last week. You keep popping into our minds. We can't help but think that we might have some synergy in business. Would you be open to having a conversation?
That's it. Super simple. We can't help but think that we might have some synergy in business. Would you be open to having a conversation? That's it.
I love it.
And it's just a yes or no. It's just a yes or no.
Yeah. So simple. Someone asked above, like, do you ask them to be friends on Facebook? And the answer is yes. This is not like, Facebook is not like a diamond ring. It's just, it's just, you're just asking them to connect. A lot of people are more comfortable connecting with you on Facebook than they are giving you their cell phone number. So, a lot of times if someone's asking for information or something, I'll just say, hey, let me send you a quick text. But a lot of times I will also say like, hey, are you on Facebook? So that was a while ago up there. I just want to make sure I addressed it because I promised to have this be an open forum. But yes, you just asked to connect on Facebook. It's super not weird, I promise. And again, once you are more consistent about asking the question, like, hey, like, let's connect on Facebook. I would love to see you next time at the gym, or like whatever the scenario is. It's a very, very natural way to connect with people. Most people, the majority of people, are on a form of social media, and it is a really, really non-weird way to be able to connect with someone and follow up with them later. So sorry.
100%. No matter, most times in my very first connection, unless it is such an obvious segue to talk about isogenics, most times I just say like, hey girl, it was so great connecting with you. I got to get going. Let's stay in touch. So what do you prefer? What do you use more, Facebook or IG? And I'll pull out my phone and I'll say, here, find yourself. And then I add them, I screenshot it, and I go back to it later.
And then there's now there is some degree of intention with what Eden just said, and this part of not bringing up isogenics right away. Because think of it like dating, right? To some degree, you want to think of it like dating, right? So if we meet you, or if a guy comes up to you at a bar, ladies, and just right away just goes full throttle into it, the chances of you saying yes are slim to none. Now, the other thing is this. Let's say that a pretty girl walks in the bar, or you walk in the bar, right? All these beautiful women on this call, you walk into a bar, and just this entourage of men, all like one after the other, keep coming up to you, just like throwing themselves after you. You're like, gross, 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 gross. But out of the corner of your eye, there's this other guy that's just kind of standing there, not even really paying attention to you.
The cool guy.
He's just not even paying attention to you. And then there's this part of you that begins to think, wait a minute.
That was a game you played, huh?
A little bit.
For sure.
It worked with you. Right? So a little bit, right? So there's this part of you that's wondering, wait a minute. There's something a little bit different about that guy. There's something a little bit more interesting, more curious, more mysterious. I'm going to go find out what he's all about. Okay? So in business, to some degree, it works the same way. So what we do is we don't tell them anything about ourselves at certain times. And then what they find themselves wondering is, wait a minute, they're so friendly. Again, completely genuine. We care, right? We really do. They're so genuine. They were so helpful. They had such great energy because we cultivate a lot of energy. I know Lindsay is so passionate about Brendan's work and cultivating energy and stuff in terms of how you show up in the world. And they start to ask themselves a question like, what? Hold on. What, you two? Wait, what is your deal? Right? Like, what are you guys all about? We don't know what you're doing, but there's something different about you.
Or they see it when they go on social media, right, and then they reach out.
So it's just this constant willingness, again, going out and projecting ourselves as people that you want to be in business with, and whose friend you also want to be, because why wouldn't you be, right? And so there's an intention in showing up in the world as a person who brings light in a world where there's so much darkness. And that's really what it's about for us. Like, people are just miserable. Like, you don't even need to sit at home waiting for the next episode of Walking Dead. You can just go out into your neighborhood and you're going to see it. That's what it's like. There's a bunch of zombies. We don't need more vampire movies. Just go to your like high school reunion. You're going to see it, right? Like, people are asleep at the wheel and they're dead. And if you just go out with a positive energy, knowing that you have something massive to offer the world, and show up with that certainty and that confidence, people are going to want to know what you're doing. They just are.
I love that. So a lot of people are asking about transitions, and I answered a few questions just over here. It's just super simple, you guys. They send the Isagenix Advantage video when they ask them to take a look, and then, you know, really transitioning after that to, hey, I would love to chat with you, and getting people on the phone. Like, would you agree that the next steps are basically that?
Yeah,
Yep.
so typically, the cookie girl is a little bit of a different situation, because I've already kind of, I have her phone number. We're developing a bit of a relationship. So it's a little bit unique. Anytime, 99% of the time, I have somebody watch a video, it's only after a call gets booked. So we book a call and I have them watch the video as the agreement prior to them getting on the call with me, and then we have our call. I will not send a video unless we have a call booked 99% of the time.
Okay, so just your verbiage, because there was a little bit of a gap there. So like, your verbiage on sending the video is, we think we'd have synergy in business. Would you be willing to take a look? And then, so their answer is yes. And so you're like, okay, when would be a good time for you to chat? Is this correct?
Yeah, so we're actually talking about two different things, and let me clarify it. There's two paths. One is with a warm market prospect, and one is with a cold market prospect.
Friend you haven't made yet.
The warm market prospect, they already know about me, who I am. We have trust between us. They know I'm doing something legit. They've seen me talking about it, or I've asked them specifically to take a look at Isagenix. That's when we have a call booked, and I send a video prior to the call, because they already know what we're talking about. We have context for what our conversation is going to be. That's warm market track. Then there's this kind of cold market track, if you will, where, you know, maybe I reach out to somebody online that I haven't met and I say, hey, you know, girl, I came across your page. First of all, you look amazing. You're so fit. I think we have so much in common. You know, I can't help but think as I look through your page that we might have some synergy in business. Would you be open to having a conversation? So that's me approaching a cold market prospect. I come across them on social media, or somebody that maybe I met in person. Hey, you know, can't stop thinking about you. I think we might have some synergy. That's kind of the same cold market track where they don't have any context for what we're actually going to be talking about. So I do not send a video prior to that call. Okay. That call is a specific template, and I can kind of walk you through what that call sounds like. I did one today. It was 6 or 7 minutes. And then because she was interested in learning more, now the videos were sent and a follow-up call was booked.
Okay, so I would love that, because this is what's so cool, is that you guys just transitioned right to my next thing without me even asking. So, you know, really, okay, so let me just break this down for people. We're talking about you know, you've moved through your warm market. You're now creating a new warm market. Your people want to be friends with you. They want to get to know you because you're awesome. But like, if you're not consistent on Facebook, this does you no good, right? So, you know, Facebook is a tool that we use to show consistency, to show that we are running a business. And so, like, to be totally just honest and transparent, if you're not being consistent on Facebook, but you're connecting with a million people, it's never going to pay off for you. I mean, just end of story. If you're not actively posting on social media and, you know, explaining what you're all about, it's going to just not have a point. So the two have to be married together. You always need to be prospecting new people, and you need to be consistent on social media. And now she's talking about cold market online connecting, which is another avenue, because, you know, maybe you did send out a few friend requests and a couple people did accept it, and you've never chatted with them, but you think they're cool. Same kind of profile, right? You think they're cool. You like their profile. You think that they're awesome and you want to get to know them. Now she's talking about cold market online connecting, which is probably looks very similar on both Facebook and Instagram. And she's taken that step. So she's sending private messages saying, hey, I think you guys look awesome. I really would love to connect with you. Like, go ahead and walk us down that set of tracks.
Yeah. So either that, or I met somebody at the corner store. We connected. I paid them a compliment. We decided to become Facebook friends or connected on IG. And then I go back to them later and I would say to them kind of the same thing as I would with somebody that I'm just kind of coming across their page. So it's either way. It's real world connecting. It's also online connecting. Were you going to say something?
No, I was wondering I don't even think we have a corner store.
The cafe. I don't know. By the way, we've lived in our house for 18 months and I just noticed that today that there's a 7-Eleven a block away.
I know we have a coffee shop.
We have a coffee shop, whatever, corner store. All right. Anyway.
Okay. Sorry.
Coffee shop. Okay. So that conversation, and I agree with you, Lindsay, with what you're saying with showing consistency on social media. It's necessary. It's like businesses used to spend tens of thousands of dollars on billboards because that's what was effective. We get to advertise what we do for free. So we're always doing two things, Lindsay, just like you said, we're always marketing ourselves. So how we put ourselves out there, the results we're getting for people, stories, what we're learning, okay, our social media content, that's marketing. And then there's prospecting. So we believe that it's far more important to do much more prospecting than marketing. That's why you can post a couple times a day and be fine, but you want to be prospecting much more consistently than you are.
Okay. Did everyone hear that? Posting on social media is not prospecting. I just want to make sure that the lines are clear because so many people just post and pray. Oh, I'm going to put up a Facebook post and I'm going to pray that someone replies to me. It's not an effective method. It's not going to grow your business at any kind of interesting rate. This is not a way to prospect. Would you agree?
Yeah,
100%.
It's just deciding whether you want to be proactive or reactive.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
Passive or proactive.
Yeah, and the thing, look, there's absolutely a place for attraction marketing. We use it all the time by putting ourselves out there, and the content we post and all that stuff is an attractive component to marketing. But what's really, really important is you just want to ask yourself a question like, imagine this. Let's just look at it in terms of isogenics. Imagine if Jim and Kathy just kind of waited around for the right corporate team to walk into the building. Just imagine like that they were just waiting around and some guy walked in and he's like, hi, I'm here to apply for the job of CEO. And Jim's like, well, what's your experience? And he's like, well, I worked aisle 43 at Walmart for the last 2 years. And Jim's like, okay, well, nobody else has walked in the door, so you're hired. Like, imagine if that's how Jim built the business of isogenics, right? In terms of who he surrounds himself with, right? So whether you're a sports enterprise, a business enterprise, you want to surround yourself with the best quality talent, right? So in order to source the best talent, you get to go out and find the types of people that you want to be in business with, you know, and that's the difference between being a proactive business person and a reactive kind of, I just kind of hope this whole thing works out for me. And again, you can do that and you'll make a little bit of money here and there, but here's what I really want to get across to you guys. And I know because Lindsay, I just know your style. I know I can get away with this. Look, here's what's really important to understand is if that's what you're willing to do, which is just post a little bit here and there and hope for people to come, fine. But just please understand that you can't complain that you're not getting the results of other people. It's just really important that you're fair with yourself, that you have an agreement with yourself that says, okay, my action, I can understand and anticipate a certain level of result based on the limited amount of activity I'm willing to put in. And if that's okay with you, and there's no judgment from us or from Lindsay or anyone else, then be okay with it. But please don't post on Facebook once or twice a week, be like, oh, no one's coming to me, my business isn't growing, blah, 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 and expect people to have compassion for that, right? Because the people that you're comparing yourself to, that's the big thing is if you're going to compare yourself to someone, first be willing to compare your habits.
Like, I'm shutting it down right now. Goodbye. No, it's like, this is, you guys, if you guys aren't hearing this and having like a real awakening, I don't know. This is exactly, thank you, Zach and Ian. That's exactly what I wanted from you guys. You're delivering it just how I wanted it. And that is so true. So just remember that, you guys, like if you're not willing to take the steps that I take or that Zach and Eden take or that any millionaire in this company take to have success by going out and prospecting and actively talking to new people and having the conversations, you will not be able to make the same amount of money, just period. Like this is not a like smackdown or anything like this. This is just the honest to goodness truth of reality of the business that we're in. And we want, and I know like Zach and Eden and I, we want you to succeed. Like, this is our primary motivation. And what I love about these guys is, like, they not only want their team to succeed, they want all of Isogenics to succeed. That's how they feel. That's how I feel. And this is an important key piece to just be aware of and to realize. And I love that honest moment just came through. Thank you for that. So you can finish whatever sentences you wanted to say, but, like, let's just talk about, like, real life follow-up, because I know the other thought in everyone's head is like, oh, they enroll everyone the first time they talk to them. You know, they never get a no. You know, they are so perfect, and you guys are, so it's okay. And they're so perfect in their dialogue that they never get no's, and no one ever says no to them. They always get to sign up on the first try. So let's bring that into reality of how many times are you guys following up with people? How many times do you approach someone? All of those that, like, the after this part, what's the timeline? What does the follow-up look like, and how serious do you have to be about that aspect of it?
You want to go first?
Well, I want to make sure to circle back to that phone conversation with that cold market prospect prior to sending them that video. Yeah. I think that'll help a lot of you guys out. So do you want to?
Oh, yes, thank you. Yes, that was my fault. Yes, yeah, do that.
Do you want me to go back and then answer this question?
Yep.
Okay.
She's good at that. She keeps us on track.
Thank you. Like, that's really good. Like, Zach and I are just.
Yeah.
You know, it took me a while to figure that piece out, and I've had to have lots and lots of conversations to see what works. So I'm happy to pay that forward. So it's a really simple conversation. So once the person agrees to the call, so, hey, you know, I think we have some great synergy in business, blah, blah, blah. Would you be open to a conversation? Sometimes they'll say, well, what do you do? Tell me more about it. What do you do? And I'll either say something like, I'll feel them out, but I'll either say something like, you know, much easier to explain over the phone. I'm extremely busy. You know, when do you have 5 to 10 minutes to chat? I can do this time or whatever. And I know that the most successful minded people are also usually the most open-minded people. And most people would be willing to spend 5 to 10 minutes to talk with somebody who has a professional looking profile or IG feed or whatever that has put good content out there that is at least has piqued their interest enough to take 5 to 10 minutes. So sometimes I'll just pause to them and be like, much easier to just jump on a call. Sometimes what I'll say, and we've been doing this lately and I love it, is I say, you know, my husband and I identify money motivated people and teach them to earn a 6-figure income from home. Does that sound like something you'd be interested in learning more about? And I really like that, because that'll really qualify people. And that's what I've been doing recently. And it seems to weed out
the riffraff,
the
speculators.
So it's posture. Okay. So I identify money motivated individuals and teach them how to earn a 6-figure income working from home. And if I notice that they're super fit or in health and wellness, and I'll also say in the health and wellness space. So that's the language that I use. We book the call, and then the call happens. Okay. Quick, I allot 10 minutes for it, and that's it. So the first couple minutes is all about building rapport, learning about them. Where are they from? Do they have kids? What do they do for work? What does their husband do for work? What's working in their life? What's not working in their life? What is great? What do they wish would be different? When you start to ask people questions, you'd be amazed at how willing they are to just share everything, because most people don't take the time to really take an interest in somebody. So they're happy to share. And this now goes on for, you know, maybe 4 or 5 minutes. And then I hear a certain part in their story that I know is my transition. It's usually the part where they start to say how, you know, they're really exhausted all the time and they wish they had more time with their spouse, or, you know, they're concerned that they might get laid off at their job, or, you know, they once loved what they did for a living and now they're really bored with it. I just find something that I know I can hit on, whether it's with my story or with a relatable story. So I'm listening for those clues. And then I'll transition. I'll say, look, I'm so glad I reached out to you, because I really do think that we could do something special together. Or I really do think that what you've been looking for is exactly what I have to offer you, but you just haven't known that it's existed yet. So what I'd love to do is I'd love to share with you a little bit about my background, a little bit about my story, how I got here, what I do. And if it's something that lights a fire in you, then what I'll do next is I'll send you a couple of brief videos to look at, and we'll just continue our conversation. So I'm telling them what's going to happen next before I even tell them anything about my story. So I tell a little bit about my story, just very briefly. 6 years ago, I was introduced. Basically, I'm going to mirror their story with a relevant part of my story. And this is something, guys, that there's nothing that can, in a textbook, that's going to tell you exactly how to do this. You're just going to have to learn from practice, and you're going to have to see what works. But this is just connecting. It's relating to people. It's
Hang on. I got this. All right, go ahead.
Yeah. It's finding ways to relate to their pain. So, somebody who says that they once loved what they did and now they're really bored with it. I say, look, about 6 years ago, I was introduced to a company called Isogenics. At first, I just used the products. When I met my husband, he was in amazing shape. I had a few pounds I wanted to lose. I got on the products. I lost 12 pounds, 2 dress sizes, felt incredible. And I was at the same place in my life, it sounds like, as you are now. I'd been with the company for almost 8 years. I was really bored of it. I had loved it, but I felt like so much time was passing me by and I really wanted more. And so when I started sharing these products, the Isogenic system, with people that I loved, because I knew that the results I got were results that they were seeking, I made like $3,000 and I had no idea what I was doing. And so that's what caused me to look more closely at the company, at the network marketing business model. I absolutely loved what I found. And fast forward 6 years, my Isogenics income overtook my full-time income in a matter of months. I've been able to do blank, blank, and blank, spend every day with my husband, blank, blank, and blank, whatever it is. I said, so does that sound like something you'd be interested in learning more about? And I'll include in there something like, the beauty of this business is that it only works when I teach other people how to be successful. And that's my main focus. Does working from home, does earning residual income, does any of what I shared with you light a fire in your belly at all? And they say yes. I say, great, let's do this. I have 2 brief videos, and I'll tell you what videos. I have 2 brief videos that explain everything. One gives you a 10,000 foot view of the product line so you can understand why our products are so unique and special. And the other one gives you an overview of the compensation plan and how the money flows, how it works. So if I send you these 2 videos are about 25 minutes total. When can you watch them for sure? She gives me a time. I then book the follow-up call, and that's it. 10 minutes out the door.
Perfect. I love it. So before we go on to our other things, Eden, I'm sure you'll keep us on track here, but one of the things I do love is your particular verbiage that you use. And someone just asked in the chat, how do you perfect your verbiage? But I know that Zach has spent like years perfecting verbiage and asking deep questions. But just for fun, anecdotally, what would you say to that, Zach? Like, how do you perfect the verbiage that you use with someone? And maybe are there books, training, something specific that people can do to learn some more effective verbiage?
Yeah, please. Eden's going to turn the heater off because it's, first of all, I don't know if you guys know this, but right now we're having a severe winter storm in San Diego. It's less than like 50 degrees right now. So we have space heaters.
Wow.
Like this is terrible for us. And so you guys probably have no idea. You cannot relate to what this is like here in Southern California. It rained today. Terrifying. So somebody asked me this the other day also. And, here's what I want you guys to get is so many of us have transferable skills, or we've learned things at a young age that we could bring into our business that we don't recognize as being massive assets, right? A lot of us discount some of the assets that we have access to. So I'm going to share a quick little story with you to answer your question, Ryan. And hopefully it'll get you guys to start to think about what might you be able to cultivate. So one of the reasons that my verbiage is the way it is because I was raised by a very prominent psychotherapist in my mom. Okay, my mom is a very prominent psychotherapist. So learning how to communicate at a very young age and learning how to listen so hard that it hurts, so I could have true compassion and empathy for the other party was a gift that my mom gave me. It was a gift that she gave me. So for years and years, I've paid very close attention to to what language did I use that wasn't empathetic? What did I just do to trigger the other person? How am I communicating in a way right now that might sound arrogant versus how am I communicating in a way right now that sounds like I actually care about somebody, right? And so it was this constant practice of self-awareness and listening to myself and seeing how other people reacted. And then the other thing was this: I am profoundly interested in the human experience. I love observing people. So I'm constantly paying attention to what is she reacting to? What triggers her? What is she responding to? What excites her, right? And so then it's a matter of taking certain words that I know are going to stimulate certain thoughts or create certain pattern neurons. Now, that came through a bunch of observation and self-awareness. Now, the other thing that I did was I modeled and studied successful people. So I would listen to Tony Robbins and I'd listen to his language. I'd listen to someone like, I mean, I grew up on Zig Ziglar, Jim Rohn. Like if you listen to me talk, and here's what I would say: next time I happen to be honored to give a presentation for Isogenics or anywhere else, if you go study some Jim Rohn, some Zig Ziglar, some Joel Osteen, some Tony Robbins, and you watch my mannerisms and movements on stage and you listen to some of the words that come out of my mouth, you're going to hear it. You're going to go, oh, that's from Jim Rohn. Oh, that's from Zig Ziglar. Of course, I bring my own style to it, but modeling is one of the most powerful ways to learn anything ever. So I modeled the behaviors of the people that were doing the things in the world that I wanted to be doing. Okay, so first things first, it was identifying something I learned from a very young age. Then it was modeling and observing other people that were doing what I wanted to be doing. Now, the third thing is I'm an avid reader. And Lindsay, I loved your post the other day about that big stack of books. I'm an avid reader. And so what I pay attention to is the words that bounce off the page, the things that mesmerize me, right? The things where I look at it and I go, okay, that made me think in a different way. And so I'm constantly toying with those things. Now, a great book that you can read is called Spin Selling. Spin Selling by a guy named Neil Rackham, Rackham. And Spin Selling, believe it or not, is not written by a salesperson. It's written by a research scientist who wanted to understand what separates the best salespeople in the world from the worst ones. And so he went on hundreds and hundreds of sales calls with all these different sales guys. And what he identified was this very particular formula, which is built into everything that we do, even what Eden just gave you, is a very specific way of asking questions to uncover underlying motives to get to the root of what somebody wants. So again, it's called Spin Selling by Neil Rackham. So it's a very long answer to your question. And then no, I mean, yes, we've both done like role playing here and there and gone through different scenarios, but for the most part, it's trial by fire.
Yeah, guys,
you got to get in it.
Here's the thing. You can have all the templates and all the books and all the psychology and whatever, but ultimately the only way that you learn and perfect language is by copious amounts of practice. Even last week, Zach and I had the crazy idea of doing our sophisticated side hustle webinar 4 times in one day. We did it for 4 different time zones where we have team. The first one was a little bit shaky. The second one, an hour later, was a little bit better. The third one later that afternoon, our energy picked up a whole lot. It was a lot smoother. That fourth one, we crushed it. And why is that? Because we did the same we had the same conversation repetitively a lot of times in a short period of time. So we had an opportunity to get incrementally better. It's like when you fill your day with 8 three-way calls back to back to back, by the end of it, you're killing it. You're doing it on autopilot. The words, the questions, they're rolling off your tongue. You're able to hear what's not being said. You're able to connect so much more deeply. You're just tapped in. As opposed to doing 1 three-way call every 8 weeks, you'll probably never improve that way.
Yeah. And I'm glad, I mean, that's what I said, because I just know that about the both of you. I know that you're both very, 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 very well studied. And I know there's people who are not from my team on this call, but I've been all over my team recently just about personal development and how critical I think that it is. And I'm even more so, feeling that way than I was, a year or 2 ago. I just feel like it's one of the number one reasons I've had success. I feel like it's largely one of the number one reasons you've both had such great successes, because you're always constantly personally developing yourself and really growing your talents and skills all the time. So again, like, don't compare yourself to Zach and Aiden unless you're willing to crush 2 or 3 personal development books a month. Like we can't get into a comparison game. Like I don't have their skills. I don't have their verbiage. I don't have their knowledge. The point is you can learn to get better than you are today. I guarantee I was not the person or the presenter that I was, 3 years ago. As a matter of fact, I have nightmares of my first ever Super Saturday presentation that I did in front of Zach and Eden, and it was horrible and terrifying. And I now just did a presentation in front of 15,000 people at Celebration. So don't think about where you are today. Think about where you want to get and actively take steps every single day to get there, because you will improve over time. So going back over to, and you guys, I know it's almost been an hour. Just hang tight with me for one more second. I feel like people are
let's keep going. Let's go.
Bad value out of this. I'm just loving it. It's the follow-up. So tell me about the follow-up and your timelines and just the realities of it, because I feel like they need to hear it from someone who's successful, Okay.
Well, I do want to dispel one of the myths. So it is true. No one ever tells us no. We've never gotten a no. No one has ever told us no, ever. Because the reality is that the only thing that anyone would ever say no to is something that would be in it for them. So they might say no, but they're not denying us of anything. They're denying themselves of something. And that's a really important mindset. That's a really important paradigm for you to get, is no one is ever saying no to you. They're saying no, unless you are just a jerk, unless you are coming off as greedy. If you're not coming from, but as long as you're coming from a true place of service, trust and believe that the only no you're ever getting is somebody denying themselves in that moment from having what it is that Isagenix has the potential to offer in their life. So I've never gotten a no, ever. No, we don't get no's. Now, somebody says, no, it's not for me, maybe. Usually though, a no means no, not now, or no, I don't know enough information to get started, but we've never gotten a no.
If I have in my mind that I am 100% enrolling whoever the person is, like if I've decided that they would be amazing, they just don't know it yet, the timing's not right. When they tell me no, I don't actually take it as a no. I just take it as a not yet, not now, not the right time. We are relentless in our follow-up. Relentless. If there's somebody I don't follow up with, it's on purpose because I've decided that I'm just kind of indifferent to enrolling them.
I love that. So
follow up
until they buy or die.
Correct.
So you guys, this is just so key. And the reason why is because I'm going to say 85% of you, maybe even higher, maybe 90% of you get completely demoralized by a no, and it prohibits you from taking another step towards being successful in your business. So, just hear what they're saying and understand, like, they don't take it personally. They never have, never will. It's not a no, never. It's a not now.
I 99% of the time, the first ask is a no.
All right.
Well, excuse me.
Oh, sorry. I didn't know you were still going. Excuse you.
99% of the time, they're going to say no at first, or they're going to make a request for more information. It's going to be something that's going to necessitate a follow-up. They have a question about this. They have a question about that. The majority of the time, people don't get started on that very first phone call, and I'm totally okay with that, because I know that if we continue in this sort of investigative due diligence type process, their yes is going to be a much more serious, much more sure, convicted yes. Also, 99.9% of my conversations at this stage in the game are really business-oriented conversations. They're people that would be saying yes to joining us because they want to build a business. Now, it doesn't mean that some people don't want to try the products first, but these are the conversations. We're having higher level conversations. And when it is a business conversation, when somebody's making a business decision, it's not about letting go of $600 in their mind. For them, it's, do I have the time? Do I believe in this? Do I believe in myself doing this? Do I believe in these guys as partners for me to do this with? We're having to kind of do a little bit of dance. There's some dating, there's some courting, there's a lot of that going on before they get to the yes. And I just know that that's all part of the process. And it's the same thing even for customers. I just enrolled my hairstylist. I've been talking to her about it for 8 or 9 months. Every time she sees me, we're talking about it. It just hasn't been her time yet.
We just enrolled 2 people after 5.5 years. It happens all the time.
Stephanie
Stephanie and Danielle. Okay. I want to read this to you really quickly. Who returned? Oh my God, we get returns. Oh my God, crazy.
Even after 5.5 years.
Amazing.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay, listen to this. This is one of my favorite little tiles. 48% of salespeople never follow up with a prospect. 25% of salespeople make a second contact and then stop. 12% of salespeople only make 3 contacts and stop. Only 10% of salespeople make more than 3 contacts. 2% of sales are made on the first contact. 3% of sales are made on the second contact. 5% of sales are made on the third contact. 10% of sales are made on the fourth contact. But listen to this. 80% of sales are made on the 5th to 12th contact. 80%. But 50% of people roughly never follow up even once. So the difference, when you look at those numbers, when you just think in terms of numbers as a business person, and even if you don't see yourself as a business person, please, I implore you to start to think of yourself as a business person because you're in a business, right? When you look at those numbers, just making the extra effort, guys, there's a saying I love that the person who's willing to go the extra mile never sits in traffic a day in their life again.
Something that Zach rarely ever talks about is that he was introduced to Isagenix 3 or 4 years prior to joining Isagenix. He was introduced at the time he was in another company. He was introduced by his mentor's mom, who's still building the business. And she said, Zach, you're in the wrong company. Isagenix, that's the company you've been looking for. Just wait and see. And it wasn't the right time. And Zach didn't get it at the time. But guess what? She never followed up with him. She didn't stay on him after he left the industry or after he left that company. And so somebody else showed up in Zach's life, and guess what? He had already been exposed before. He'd already tried and sampled the products before through this other person. The company had already been edified through her. She warmed him up for the person that came in and enrolled him.
I love that. One person asked for the 2 videos you send, if you could share that.
Yeah, so it's the Isagenix Advantage video. The second video is the compensation plan video that I made. So it's on YouTube if you do Eden Slobin Isagenix compensation plan.
So, okay, I swear to you, I'm not going to keep you that much longer. I'm sorry, I'm a tiny bit guilty, but I just, this is so good.
No, we're good. I might have to take a quick bathroom break, but we can keep going.
Go ahead. Well, actually, this is for you. So do you need to pee now? I can ask a different question.
Depends on ask the question first, and then depending on how long I think it might take to answer.
One of the things I really loved when we were chatting in Arizona is your critical questions, and you started to touch on it just for a second, but I would love some of your verbiage.
She's just mocking me by getting up to go to the bathroom when she knows I have to go. That's so selfish. Okay.
I can totally ask a different question, but the critical questions, tell me, if you can share just a little bit of that verbiage, that'd be amazing.
So questions when it comes to when we're talking with a prospect, or
there was one that you said that when you and I were sitting on the couch. I don't remember what it is, but it was, I think it was
really powerful. What really left an impression.
No, I'm serious. I'm actually kicking myself right now that I can't remember what it was, because I really wanted, the whole reason I asked you guys to do the call was partially in that. But it was something about asking someone, it was like a question about their pain point, I don't know, you're just so good at it. I'm sorry I'm being vague because I cannot remember, and now it's driving me crazy. But if you can't think of it, no sweat. But we were talking on the couch, you were asking, I'm like, that's such a good question to ask, and now I can't remember what it is.
What's keeping you loyal to something that's keeping you?
I do ask that question sometimes. I'll ask somebody, what's keeping you so loyal to a job that's keeping you so broke?
Oh, just like that. So that's a perfect example. So you have a series of these. I know that, and I love them all, but just give me a couple more. Just riff for a minute, because they're such great questions, and I think they have such a great way of really cracking maybe people's thought processes open.
I mean, one of the things I would say all the time to people is they'll complain. They'll tell me like what's not working. They'll tell me what's like happening in their life, and I'll just ask very simple, like, how's that working for you?
Yeah. Or they'll say, oh, I like Whole Foods, or I'm already blah, 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 blah. Well, how's that working for you?
How's that working for you? Or somebody will say like, well,
Lisa, you're going to just have to write them down.
Yeah. What are some of the other, I have like some go-tos for sure. I don't know, like I'm willing.
How often does money get in the way of
Oh
you?
yeah, that's a big one. How often does this one's really big when people say that they can't afford it. I'll say, how often does money get in the way of the things that you deserve in your life? Right? Or one of my other favorite questions to ask somebody, and this one stings a little bit sometimes, I say, how would you like to take the vacation you deserve, not the one you can afford?
You just said the ones that I was thinking of, so thank you. Like that was exactly it. Those were some of my.
That one's really big. How would you like to take the vacation you deserve, not the one you can afford? Right? But then sometimes, it's sometimes you gotta be willing to ask really tough questions. Like, I don't have time to do this. Okay, are you willing to tell your children that you don't have time to do this?
I love that. That's a good one too.
I'm willing. I'm willing to ask. And remember, though, I've established credibility. I've established relationship. I've established enough rapport where I know that I can take a risk asking some of these questions. And here's something I want you guys to really get. And this is years and years of practice and years of building myself to this posture. But I am absolutely 100% okay with somebody not liking me. I'm okay with someone not liking me. I'm okay with somebody saying, you know what? You're an a-hole, but I got to do this because you're right. I'm willing to be a stand for somebody and to ask questions that nobody else in their life is willing to ask them because, quite frankly, I care enough about them to be honest with them and to ask questions that no one else is asking. And when you're willing to position yourself that way, when you're willing, here's the other big thing I'm willing to do. I'm willing to sacrifice my relationship with somebody for their potential. So I might piss somebody off with a question, and this has happened where I've pissed somebody off with a question or with a conversation. And guess what? Like I just got this message. I just got this message 3 or 4 weeks ago from a woman who said, "Hey, I know that she was someone who I did a personal growth seminar with years ago. She said, I just want you to know that because she had a big weight goal, and I knew I had a relationship with her where I could really challenge her on her weight, and I did. And she didn't talk to me for 3 years. And she just messaged me the other day and I said, I want you to know that I've been thinking about that question for about 3 years. And I've finally taken on my health and I've joined a network marketing company because I really believe in the products that I'm using. And I'm a big believer in the business model. Thank you for opening that door for me. So do I care that she didn't join Isogenics? Not at all. Do I care that because I was willing to ask that question that she decided to take radical action in her life 2-3 years later? 100%. Because Muhammad Ali says that service is the rent that you pay for your time here on earth. And I believe that one form of service is asking powerful enough questions to deliver something into their lives where they're willing to take a radical new action that they hadn't previously considered. And yes, at times it is going to rub people the wrong way. And I'm 100% okay with that because how somebody feels about me is none of my business. That was a total tangent to your question, but I just got sometimes I get going.
It actually wasn't. It was right in alignment with what I wanted. So thank you for that. Okay, I'm gonna let Zach take his bathroom break. I'm gonna let Eden answer the very last question. Eden, what would you say to someone who lives in a small town who says they don't have a lot of places to connect with people? Would you tell them to just resort to social media connecting, or like
how small is the town? How many people are there?
Like 20,000. Like a smaller town.
Okay, so if you take 20,000 people, let me pull out my calculator real quick. Let's see. 20,000 people. Where is my calculator? 20,000 people times 1% would be 200 people. So if you can talk to 1% of the people that live in a small town of 20,000 people, and you can enroll them, you enroll 200 people. You get 200 people to order 100 BV worth of product every month. That's 20,000 BV right there, just with the people you personally enrolled. And then you teach them to turn around and share with people that they know and they know and they know. That's assuming that social media doesn't exist, the internet doesn't exist. You have no way to take a trip out of town. You have no way to go into it. a town close by. That's just with the people that are right in your backyard with just 1% penetration. So the numbers don't have to be huge, guys. We have an organization now that is about to cross the 40,000 person mark, but we have only enrolled 250 people in a 6-year time span. Lynn Hagedorn built to $1 million in 14 months, shattered every record, and she lived in a town of 6,500 people. Hillary Courtney lives in a tiny town of probably right about the same. She drives 6 hours. She makes about $2 million a year, and she still to this day drives 6 hours to go do an in-home presentation for her brand new person when 3 guests show up, and 6 hours back. Where Hillary Courtney said, I think it was from stage, that she drives an hour into a town just to be able to take a group fitness class and meet some people in an hour back. So what are you willing to do to meet people either where you are or in neighboring towns, or start getting really proficient with your online activity? We have team all over the world. It's not, yes, building locally, massive, huge benefits to doing that. And we have access to the entire globe at our fingertips, 18 markets where we're able to do business. So don't let living in a small town be an excuse at all. And if you feel like, oh, I wish that, there were events going on in my town, there are events going on other places, I wish some big leader would just come here and do events for me. Guess what? Nobody ever came and did events for me. I'd be willing to bet most likely that nobody came and did events for Lindsay, that she decided that she's going to have people in her living room. We decided we were going to have people in our living room. We decided once it got big enough, once we outgrew our house, we rented a hotel room. We got people in together for a Super Saturday. Be the leader in your market. Even if that feels really uncomfortable at first, don't wait for somebody to come in and do it for you. You've got to be willing to be proactive and plant your flag and say, I'm doing this no matter what, no matter how long it takes. Who's coming with me?
I love that. And that's a posture thing. And I agree. Like I'm not in the same town as my sponsor. I did my tastings on my own by myself. I kept having them even when no one came. I think, so many times, you guys, we've said it a billion times, but you see the glory, but you don't know the story. But every single Isogenics millionaire, 8-star, whatever that you talk to is going to tell you that they had to work for it. They're going to,
And Lindsay, we still do. We just drove an hour and a half the other night to do an in-home for somebody who had, 4 or 5 people there. 4 or 5 people, and it was a tough crowd.
Really tough crowd.
It was a really tough crowd.
Yeah, guys. Emily Vavra just drove to like Yuma or something. Yeah. Like, I really don't think people, I think they want it convenient and easy. And it's really just not. Like, you have to do the steps. You have to have the parties where no one shows up. You have to be consistent. You have to keep having the conversations. You have to keep doing the things to have success in this business.
Yeah, you're gonna get out of it what you put into it. If you want convenient and easy, if you display convenient and easy habits, you're gonna get convenient and easy results.
It's like there's this quote, and it's not mine, but it's floated around for years, that you can't have $1 million dream with a minimum wage work ethic. It's just very simple. Like, I don't have $1 million dream if you have a minimum wage work ethic. I was talking to one of our associates today, and I said, if this was your job, if you had a boss, if this was your job, like, how long would you have your job for, based on how you're showing up in your business every day?
Another hard question to ask.
And then here's another way to look at it. Like, high accountability is so important for me. Like, it's so important. Ask yourself another question. If you were a stock, would you buy you right now? If you were a stock, would you buy you based on what you're putting in every day? And then another way to look at it, and this is how we try and live our lives. We do our best. We are by no means perfect, but we hold ourselves to a very high standard, because if we don't, no one else will. And we teach people how to treat us, and we teach ourselves how to treat ourselves, right? It's so important. But I just imagine for a second that there was a documentary film crew following you around 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and the whole world got to see this live stream documentary, like the Truman Show. And the people that were most tuned in to watching your every move were the people that you say you're doing this for. Imagine that for a second. Imagine the people that you say that you're doing this for. Your kids, your partner, your spouse, your loved ones, your parents, the people, the children in Guatemala who you want to build the orphanage for, the people that you claim that you're doing this for, your big why. Imagine that there was a documentary film crew tied to you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and they were live streaming in. Those people were watching your every move, your every choice, your every habit. Would you pick it up a notch?
And if you're not doing it for anybody but you,
which is totally okay.
Because I wouldn't be able to relate to that, because I always, like, this was a vision that I had for me. Then tune into what would the future you, the person that you envision you becoming in 5 years from now, what would he or she say about your daily habits, your thought process, the words that come out of your mouth, the way that you treat people.
What you're eating, what you're drinking, how you're treating people. Like, it's so important. So important. High accountability and radical responsibility will change your life quicker than anything else you could ever imagine. Being willing to raise your hand, acknowledge the ways in which you've contributed to the way your life is right now, creating a new awareness, and then choosing to take new steps towards whatever it is you want to create. The ultimate thing is this: wherever you've been in your business, whatever you like, here, so many of you are sitting here watching this call, kicking yourselves, beating yourselves up. I get it. I know it. I totally get that. And so what now what?
Use it as a wake-up call.
So what now what? So what if you've been in for 2 or 3 years? Now what? So what if you rank advance to 3-star? Now what? So what now what? So what now what? In every moment of every single day, so what now what?
And so what now what is also a powerful question to ask, instead of asking, well, why am I not growing? And why have I not done this? And why do I keep getting in my way? And why do I keep setting goals and not achieving them? Forget about the why. Doesn't freaking matter. I don't care. I used to see a psychologist who
not my mom, just to be clear.
Not his mom, but for like 6 years in my 20s. And we're just trying to answer the question of why to anything. And ultimately none of it mattered. It was, so what now what? What am I going to do differently? So what now what? Get out of like the state of the why of trying to like figure out your whole psychology and your life story. Like literally none of it matters. What are you going to do differently? You can take on a new habit any minute that you choose.
Is the action I'm about to take in alignment with the things that I say that I value and desire in my life? Plain and simple. If it's a yes, you do it. If it's no, you don't. End of story. It's black and white. And when we're willing to simplify to the black and white, and we're willing to make decisions easier for ourselves, you build momentum in a way that you can't stop. And last but not least, please remember this: action breeds clarity, and action removes all doubt.
Okay, that's nice. You guys, I mean, what I love is that I may have said some of these things to my team 100 times, but it's even fresh to my ears, which is what I love. I live these things. I practice these things. I do these things to myself. I push myself every single day to be better, do better, show up in a different way. And the truth of the matter is that no one is going to drag you. And they just said that so succinctly. And it's truly up to you to wake up every day, to take the reins for yourself and make it happen for yourself. And I can't even express, please blow up the chat with your gratitude for these people who spent an hour and 20 minutes pouring into you, giving you everything they have. They are true gems in the whole profession of network marketing. We love and appreciate you. And thank you guys so much for your incredible hour and 20 minutes. I am grateful. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having us. We'll see you guys in Phoenix.
You guys are the best.
Thanks, Lynn. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.